warm cinnamon nutmeg coffee. We got the Christmas tree lit. So that means it's time to talk about all of my winter and Christmas reading plans, and I can't wait to share them with you. So if you're ready, get yourself a snack and or a warm beverage, and let's talk about all the things. Hello. My name is Nakia. Welcome to my channel. So yes, you see, we have all the decorations. I've just been in heaven with my Christmas scented candles and my Christmas warm beverages and my Christmas mug, just all Christmas things. We love it in this house. For me, about as much as Halloween. For my daughter, even more, but we just love it. The Christmas music, all of it. But even with all that, I only have like a couple Christmas books that I plan to read. The rest will be wintry and some not. I just want to have fun. So without further ado, let me tell you about all my winter reading plans. Let me take a sip of my, as I said, cinnamon nutmeg coffee before I pick up some of these books that I have here. This is for you, Gavin. I'm always jealous of the way his coffees look. So anyway, I'm going to start off with what I am currently reading and or listening to. I have them here with me. First up, I am still reading Pines by Blake Crouch. This was part of my fall TBR, so if you have not seen that video, check it out. I will link it here. I believe I'm sitting in a different spot, so I'm not sure which way to point. Here or here. It'll be linked. But anyway, I talked about this book already, so short and sweet. This is where we're following a Secret Service agent named Ethan Burke, who goes to the town of Wayward Pines searching for two agents who went missing. And when he gets there, things are strange, and he could possibly be trapped in this town and what is going on. It also seems like his wife that has been looking for him, time is passing in a different way than it is for him. I am about at the halfway point, and I am just loving this. I said in my end of the year book tag that this could be on track to be one of my new favorite books, and so far, we'll see. You got to stay tuned. But let's move on. Okay, and then next, this one has come up for me from my library. I've had it on hold and it just keeps popping up. So I was like, okay, what is the deal with this book? When I finished my audiobook that I was reading, I was like, oh, I need another audiobook. And I listened to a sample of this one and I was like, you know what? Since I got the book, I like the way the audiobook sounds. I've listened to this narrator before. We're going to move on with that one. So what I am currently listening to / reading is Starter Villain by John Scalzi. Now, this is my first John Scalzi novel. I did try to read his release that came out last year, but there was too much 2020 talk in that one. I was not having a good time. I was listening to the audiobook, so you didn't hear about it because I didn't listen to much, but this one, so far, I'm having a good time. The audiobook is narrated by Will Wheaton, which would be my third Will Wheaton book. Ready Player One was one, and The Martian by Andy Weir. So I do enjoy Will Wheaton's narration style. And this one, I mean, first of all, yes, we have the cat on the cover, and no, this is for cat lovers. I mean, if you like dogs, that's fine, but this is for cat lovers. There is even a picture in the back of the book with John Scalzi. You won't be able to see that, but he has his cat on his shoulder. So if you don't know, if you're new here, I have 2 cats. I love all animals, but we have cats in our house, so this just touched my heart. But anyway, let me tell you a little bit about it. So in this book, we follow a man named Charlie who inherits his uncle's supervillain business that he had no idea about. His uncle was like this billionaire. That's all he knew. And again, he finds out that his uncle was also a supervillain. What? I mean, starter villain, what the book is called. And along with this new supervillain business, he also inherits his uncle's enemies, and there is a war that is raged against him, against them, all the things. So it should be fun. Again, because Will Wheaton is narrating it, there is comedy. I'm enjoying it so far. I know comedy in books for me is touch and go, but like I said, so far this one is working for me. As I said, I am also enjoying all the cat vibes in this book. I am very early into it. Probably by the time you see it, it will be a little bit further. But anyway, hopefully it stays good. Again, the audiobook is keeping me entertained, so this is what I'm currently listening to. And now let's move on to what I plan to read in the month of December. Now, like a lot of people, the end of the year is a time to wrap things up. There's videos to be made here on YouTube, you know, best of, worst of, most disappointing, reading plans for 2024, anticipated books, all that stuff. I didn't say I'm doing all those videos, but I plan to do some. We'll see what I can squeeze in this month. But so I'm going to take it easy this month. I already have 2 books that I'm currently in the middle of. And then I told you previously that I will be reading book 5 in the Harry Potter series, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Now, I hope I'm not making a mistake reading this in December because I do know the books get darker, but it doesn't matter. Harry Potter is just so magical for me. I will be reading the illustrated edition as always and listening to the audiobook in tandem. So that will be how I finish off my month of December because I plan to be cozied up in front of the tree with my winter ambiance and all the good stuff. But also, after I finish Pines, I will be moving on to this next book that is a new release that I could not wait for. It is the second book in a series. The first book I love. Can you guess what I'm talking about? I am speaking of The Mystery Guest by Nita Prose. This is book 2 in the Molly the Maid series. I actually got 2 copies of this. My hold came up from the library, and then I also got approved for a NetGalley copy. I was like, what? I have not touched NetGalley in probably a couple years, so I was shocked they gave me a copy. So I have my Kindle version that I will read when I'm laying in bed, and then I also have my physical copy, you know, for when I'm sitting up and about, because when I'm in the bed, I can fall asleep, and we don't want this falling on me. But anyway. So I'm looking forward to continuing adventures with Molly the Maid. I loved her. This was one of my favorite books of 2022. If you did not know, you can check out that video from last year. But yeah, basically in book 1, Molly the Maid gets wrapped up in this murder mystery, and she's the prime suspect because she was the maid and the last person in the room when the dead body was found, and she has to figure out what was going on. Molly is also neurodivergent, so I just loved her character. I don't really know anything about this book, and I like it that way. I'm looking forward to going in blind. I just know clearly there's a mystery guest, so hopefully I enjoy this one as much or almost as much as I did The Maid. So of course, stay tuned. Now, of course, I had to add some children's illustrated books for the month of December, and these are all Christmas reads. So really, these are the only Christmas books I have planned for December. I don't know, when I started planning my TBR, I was like, I'm not really in the Christmassy books kind of mood. I just want to have fun with my books, and I was looking at a lot of them and they were too cozy. Not really what I was looking for. I mean, The Mystery Guest will probably be a little bit cozy, but not like a lot of Christmas books. But anyway, so of course, you know, there will be a Berenstain Bears book. I will be reading the Berenstain Bears Christmas Tree. I'm looking forward to it, of course. I will also be reading Arthur's Christmas by Mark Brown. If you don't know, I read Arthur's Halloween. I believe that was the name of that one. I read that one in the month of October. And I asked in my last video, what kind of animal is Arthur? And a lot of you informed me he is an aardvark. I had no clue. He don't look like that to me, but now I know and I won't forget. But anyway, so I'm looking forward to it. I enjoyed the illustrations in the Halloween book, so I can't wait to see what we get in this Christmas version. And lastly, I will be reading Pinkalicious and the Holiday Sweater by Victoria Khan. And I don't know how I stumbled upon Pinkalicious. I think it popped up on my library site. I don't really get many books from other booktubers these days. I find a lot of things through lists on Goodreads or my library site. I get emails, all kind of things. So like I said, I saw a Pinkalicious book show up on my library site, and I saw so many of the books that looked interesting to me. The illustrations looked fun, so I'm looking forward to some Christmas fun with Pinkalicious. Don't know anything about her, but like I said, looked cute and cozy. So now let's move on to the books I plan to read for January and February, and they will surprise you because we just really gonna be doing a lot of thrillers and mysteries with a sprinkling of sci-fi. But like I said, we just gonna have fun. Now, like I said, I just want to have fun going forward with all the books that I read. You may be thinking, weren't you already having fun? Yes, but I was also trying to read a lot of books that just were expected of booktubers and just popular books in the booktube community. And I mean, of course, I'm still going to end up reading books that are popular, but I just want to read books that seem fun to me. So I'm also going to be chopping books off of my TBR list from Goodreads and narrowing it down more to more things that I think will keep me going, keep me motivated, keep me from reading slumps. So what inspired this too was I saw a video here on YouTube by Sunny Kim. I will link it below, but it was basically her talking about how she read 100 books in a year with being a grad student and a content creator and all the things. And one of the pieces of advice she gave was just to read books that are fun to you, that are like Netflix, because reading is supposed to be fun. And I was like, you know what? That is so true. And I'm also going to try to DNF faster next year. Fingers crossed, because a lot of books that I DNF this year, I got pretty deep in, like 100 pages. So we're going to try to chop faster. But like I said, with that in mind, when I started building this TBR, I was trying to find all these winter cozy books. And as I said, when I started looking at samples, I was just like, just wasn't feeling it. So I was like, you know what? We going for murder and mayhem. Not really as much mayhem, but you know, it's going to be a lot of mysteries involved because that's what gets my goose. So let's start off with, you already know this was one of my most anticipated books for 2023. It got pushed back and I'm finally gonna be able to get to it. Again, these books will be read during the months of January and February. Don't know which. I'll pick them up as I see fit. But I know probably beginning of January, I'm gonna start with The Second Stranger by Martin Griffin. If you don't know, I'm so excited about this book. All I know is there is this woman who's working at a hotel. There's a snowstorm, you know, all the things, trapped, that kind of thing. There was an accident and two guys show up. One is supposed to be the sheriff and one is supposed to be the prisoner he was transporting. And of course, both of them claim to be the sheriff. So she has to figure out which one is the prisoner so she can stay out of danger. Anyway, it's going to be so exciting. I hope. I've read a little bit of a sample. It's already off to a good start. So fingers crossed it stays that way. Oh, I would say if you read it, let me know, but I don't want to know anything. I want to go in blind. So let's move on. Been filming too long. I lost my phone. Gavin, how do you do it? Anyway, this next one is surprising. I surprised myself. But when I was looking at the list and I read a little bit of a sample of this book, I was like, you know what? I complained a little bit about book one in this series, but I did have fun with it. And again, I just want to have fun. So I am going to read book two in the Black Winter series by Darcy Coates, Secrets in the Dark. I know. I read book one. I cannot think of the name of it right now. I will put it somewhere here on the screen, but I gave the first book 2.5 stars, rounded it up to 3. I had complaints, but again, in hindsight, I really enjoyed it and the atmosphere was on point. It was fun. Even if I'm griping, I still will remember it and it still will be fun. But anyway, in book one, we were following a young lady named Claire who had a car accident and she did not remember anything. She wakes up in this Victorian Gothic house and she's with a man named Doran. Now he tells her again that you had this horrible accident and I need to help you. There's a snowstorm. Of course, she's trapped in the house and she finds out a lot of things in book one. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to spoil anything. What I can say is that in book one, she also was with her sister and they got separated some kind of way. So I do know in book two, she is on the search for her sister. That's all I know, but hopefully it will be as entertaining as the first one. Next up, I have one that a lot of you love and I have taken a long time to get to it, but I'm finally doing it. And that would be A History of Wild Places by Shay Earnshaw. Now, I picked this one because it starts off describing snow. You can see by the cover, we got mountains. So again, it should be perfect for winter. Now, what I do know about this book is that we are following a man named Travis Wren who is good at locating missing persons. Now, he gets asked to find a woman named Maggie St. James who is part of a reclusive community that was formed in the 1970s. Sounds a little cultish. Maybe I've heard some things about this book. But anyway. Now later, Travis disappears. What? And then years later, a member of this community finds his abandoned truck and decides to go try to figure out what happened to Travis. I am intrigued. Hopefully this is cozy and creepy and mysterious and all those things that I love. I do love all those things. Let's move on. Next up, we have another book that's part of a series, book one of a series. I have talked about this one as well a ton. I was supposed to read it this year or last year. I'm finally gonna get to it this year. I hope. I'm speaking of The Screaming Staircase, book one in the Lockwood & Co. series. Now, again, when I read a little bit of a sample, there were descriptions of frosted window panes and cold atmosphere. So this should hopefully give me winter vibes. Now, in this one, we follow a young lady named Lucy, who is part of one of a number of psychic investigations agencies in England. Now, she goes to London and joins one of the smallest agencies, Lockwood & Co., run by Anthony Lockwood. Now, one of their cases goes wrong and they end up having to spend the night in one of the most haunted houses in England. Ooh, sounds spooky and fun. Fun is the key word. So I know this is also a beloved book and series, so I'm looking forward to digging in, getting cozy with it. Let's move on to the next one. Next up, we have hopefully what will be a fun mystery thriller. This one is A Quiet Retreat by Kristen Modglin. Now, I have not read any of her books yet. I have many that I've had my eye on, but this one seemed perfect for the cold weather part of the year. I read a little bit of a sample and this one starts off describing a secluded Victorian house and mountain views. So again, for me, that's perfect for winter. Now, I loved what it says in the synopsis for this book. It says, "You are cordially invited to visit the new Black Hills Manor writing retreat." Oh, now I am not an author, nor do I want to be, but I am still always intrigued by books about authors, writers, etc. Have I had one go well for me? Not yet. hopefully this will be the first. Now, all I know about this book is that for 5 authors on this retreat, things take an unsettling turn and they find themselves in their own mystery. You had me at mystery and retreat and secluded Victorian house. So check, 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 check all the boxes. Let's hope it's good. Moving on. Now, I told you I wanted to have fun, and next year I want to read more sci-fi books. I did not get to many in 2023, so we starting off the year rectifying this. I got 2 sci-fi books on this list, starting off with Savage Skies by Nicholas Sansbury Smith. If you are new here, know that I loved his series Helldivers. I got to about book 6 or something, but Helldivers book 1 was one of my favorite books of one of these years, I think last year. But I have thoroughly enjoyed the Helldivers series. I probably will go back to it at some point, who knows. But this one just came out in 2023. It is a novella, only 156 pages. And I love the description, so I was like, we gotta get to it in the new year for winter. Fun. That's what we're doing. In this book, we have a squad of elite soldiers and scientists who wake up in an underground facility with no memories. If you are new here, that is one of my favorite tropes. The amnesia trope tickles me, gets me every time. Now, as they venture out, some memories return and then they start to face strange new forces, and they find out that not all members of this team want to succeed. Now, I will be doing this in tandem with the audiobook narrated by Eduardo Ballerini. I've listened to some of it and I was already into it, so I just love Nicholas Sansbury Smith's writing. So I'm looking forward to it, of course. Next up, we have a book that's described as a technological thriller. Those usually intrigue me as well, movies and books. And this one is Beta by Sammy Scott. This is also a 2023 release. Now, in this book, we follow a man named Michael Danvers who lives a life of self-imposed seclusion. Sounds good to me. Now, one day his life is interrupted when he receives a strange request to move into and beta test a fully automated smart home. No, sir. No, ma'am. No, thank you. This home is controlled by a sophisticated AI. No. This is horror to me. This is a sci-fi thriller, but it's horror to me. Now, of course, things can't go right, and Michael realizes that what he thought was a futuristic utopia is quickly becoming a technological prison. Like I said, no thank you. Take me off the grid. I don't want no part of it. But it'll be a good read, so let's move on to the next one. Now, in the spirit of fun, that is the name of the game for this TBR list, I am ending with some popcorn thrillers. That's what people say. But these should just be some page turners that I can just sit there and be like, ooh, So of course, that has to include Frida McFadden. And I will be reading her book, The Locked Door. Now, if you're new here, I enjoyed her 2 Housemaid books, and then I also loved her book, Never Lie. That is a winter book. I highly recommend it. And so I have so many of her books on my TBR list, but this one popped out to me. It was on my Kindle, and I read a little bit of the description. I was like, yes, we're doing this for winter. Now, in this book, we are following a woman named Nora, whose father is serving a life sentence in prison for murdering tons of young ladies when she was a child. I don't usually like serial killer stuff, but we're not from the serial killer's POV. I hope not. Now, as an adult, she is now a successful surgeon, and one day one of her patients is murdered, and it looks like it's in the same way that her father would kill his victims. No, I hope it doesn't get too descriptive. So it seems that someone knows who she is and wants her to take the fall for murdering, I'm assuming, not just this one victim, but many. Again, not too descriptive, please. Now, I love this part of the summary. It also said the police can't pin anything on her as long as they don't look in her basement. What? What's in her basement? Oh. I say this and I'll be reading and wincing and still reading and loving it. So anyway, I really enjoy Frida McFadden's writing. So hopefully this will be good. It should be. I'm so looking forward to the start of next year. I have some exciting books on my list. Now, these next 2 are really popular in the BookTube community. I believe they both were nominated for Goodreads Choice Awards this year. I'm not sure. I will correct myself if I'm wrong. But this first one, I have read a book by this author and I really loved it. So hopefully this one goes well for me too. I am speaking of Everyone Here Is Lying by Sherry Lapina. I've heard so many good things. This is not my usual thing. It's a domestic thriller, but again, I've heard it so good by so many people that I trust, so I'm gonna take a chance. And I also loved her book, An Unwanted Guest, and that's another winter book I recommend. But in that book, it had some drama, some marital drama that I was really into. So hopefully that transfers into this one. Now, in this book, we have a man named William who was having an affair. Scandalous. And he decides to break it off with this woman. Right after that, his 9-year-old daughter goes missing. And then it seems like neighbors and friends and whatnot come forward and start telling him things, and secrets and lies are involved, and who took his daughter is the main thing. And again, this seems like a lot of drama. You don't know who you can trust. I love it. So hopefully it's gonna be good. Now this last one, I believe a lot of it takes place in June or the summer. So I was like, do I really want to read it? But when I looked at a sample, and I know I need to do this in tandem with the audiobook, I was like, I have to. It just sounds like it's going to be so good. And I'm speaking of None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. My good buddy Ty from Ty's Book Corner told me that I must do the audiobook, and I know why. This is a book involving a podcast. I've listened to a bit of a sample, and the production value is what I love in audiobooks. So I'm looking forward to this one. I'll probably read it like closer to the end of February because that's getting into spring, but we'll see. Now, in this book, we are following a popular podcaster named Alex who is celebrating her 45th birthday. I love that she is a woman above 40. Maybe someone I know is above 40. Now, she ends up crossing paths with a woman named Josie, who is her birthday twin. If you don't know what that means someone who was born on the exact same day in the exact same year as you. So this woman, Josie, ends up snaking her way into Alex's life, and it seems like, of course, Josie has some dark secrets she's hiding. Another theme of this TBR list, secrets and lies. And then it says that Josie disappears and Alex finds herself part of a real-life true crime podcast. What is going on? Now, this would be my first Lisa Jewell book, so we'll see how things go. I don't know. I mean, she clearly is loved. She has lots of books out there. Hopefully, if I enjoy this one, I will want to read more. You can give me Lisa Jewell recommendations below if you so choose. But yeah, so lots of exciting winter reading plans. So yes, so much to look forward to in December and the beginning of 2024. I'm not gonna lie, when I first started making this list, I was so discouraged because I just could not figure out what I wanted to put on it. But then when I flipped my mind switch to I just wanna have fun, I don't care if it's Christmas themed or horror or sci-fi, whatever, I'm gonna read it. And when I started getting this list going, I got excited, and now I cannot wait to read all these books. I hope I get a chance to get to all of them. That's the point, right? So yes, feel free to let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on some of these books I plan on reading. If you're excited about me reading them, if you're like, I don't think you're gonna like it, I always love to know what you guys think and how well you know me or how well you think you know me. Also, you can let me know any of your winter reading plans that you're especially excited about. I love to hear about those as well. And of course, I will have all these books linked below, as well as always ways you can support my channel, donations towards coffee, tea, ebooks, things needed for the channel, all that good stuff. I appreciate each and every one of you. I mean, I have so many new subscribers now. I'm just so grateful. This has been a good year and I'm looking forward to the next one. And don't think I forgot. If you want to let me know that you made this far in the video and or show me some love, you can leave me of course, Christmas tree emoji or a Santa emoji. There he is. I got my black Santa. And I think that about wraps it up for this video, my beautiful people. So until next time, snuggle up in your hideaway with a good, fun book. Unplug as much as possible. Be kind to all kind. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.